gonna get ready to just turn it right on over to Queen Quet and let her let loose. And Queen Quet, if you would, even though again we don't need to know who you are because we already do, but there may be somebody out there who's been hiding under a rock and doesn't necessarily know who you are. So if you would just introduce yourself as well. Thank you for being with us.
Peace and blessings. Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Hold on just a little while longer. Everything why be all right? On a children fight on just a little while longer. Fight on just a little while longer. Fight on just a little while longer. Everything why be all right? On a half a pray on just a little while longer. Pray on just a little while longer. Pray on just a little while longer. Everything why be all right? On the children, everything why be all right? Freedom fighters, everything gonna be all right. Praise God this morning, everybody. So glad for dear with all of the children. What gather y'all? Yeah, like y'all children and join me. I need you to show you in the Gullah Geechee Nation. I the Queen Quet, head from the body of the Gullah Geechee Nation. I from this island that hunter see behind me, Santana Island, right here in South Kakalaki. The Gullah Geechee Nation going from Jacksonville, North Kakalaki, all the way down to Jacksonville, Florida, and 30 to 35 miles inland to this here river. They call St. John. And we tree with the Gullah Geechee Nation flag that our tree planted by the rivers of the water. All the children, we ain't going to be moved. We the Benya. We ain't going to with all dog. Now back of yonder, this your what the 100 children to join round. That about justice. That ain't been for we, just we. Cause just we be there. All the rest of people ain't been the kind in here like you to do now. Fact, the backward them be run from you. Left all of this shit of we. We ancestors be done walk all of this shit. It blood, sweat, and tears did them. The indigenous people were there from right here. The African people were there from right here. We souls inextricably tied to this here land, the land that we family, the waterway that we bloodline. So how we can allow the rest of people come here and do all kind of things with them? Oh, but you know one thing about that water? We always say the water to bring we, the water gonna take we back. The water, the water been used for going along that creek show. When we've been a roar, and then they study that thing in it and make them turn the wheel for do the same thing. You don't care if you did in the Atlantic, if you did on the Gulf, they used to have them big old wheels turning in the water. Now, people are going back to old landmark, Sankofa. Go back and fetch it. As our elders taught us, if honey ain't know where honey the deer from, honey ain't going to know where honey the grind. So when we talk about energy, I'm a computer scientist and a mathematician by degrees. I studied engineering. So I know how we can design things and make formulas to harness energy. But being a person from the Sea Islands, I see the energy of my people when we got to row the battle boat. So when I go down to New Orleans and see my people there, and I see the boats they have on the rivers with the big old wheel on the side, or I go to Charleston, South Carolina and see those, I say they're harnessing the energy of the water. We can do the same. We can harness the energy of the water. We can harness the energy of the wind. These things people are calling renewable, right? But we're here today to renew our own energy. That's why we part of this gathering, talking about energizing the South. The South been energized. There'd be no America without the colonies that were first in the South. Right where I am, where Charleston, South Carolina is up the creek from me. That is the founding point. 40% of all Africans enslaved in North America came through Sullivan's Island, where I was installed. And then my confirmation of my one-year election as the first head of state, or as we say, head funded body of the Gullah Geechee Nation took place. And you talk about power, the power in the drum that continued to sound as our ancestors continued to hold on to who they were, in spite of the fact that there were so many other powers trying to stop them from remembering who they were. It's no different now. All this energy coming at us is spiritual warfare in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of hurricane season for many of us. To then sit here and have people talking about, well, the power that run to your house, I'm about to disconnect it. That power that you need to keep your CPAP machine going, that power that you need to keep your oxygen machine going, I'm about to unplug that because you don't have this year, forgive me. But it's not all about money. We're here to talk about something that is much greater than money, and that is justice. And it shouldn't be just us talking about energy justice. So I am that person who is also a scholar. I'm an author. I'm now a professor at the University of Minnesota in the Department of Environment, Society, all right, and Geography. So when I think about the lay of the land, that is my environment. I can't think of the lay of the land without thinking about the people. That is society. So when I was asked to come here this morning, I'm supposed to also be in another session with Historic England at this same time. I told them, look here I am over here by video, because I got to go over here and be here and give the energy to this moment live. It's just like you reaching in to get one of these. We think this is the only thing that give you energy. But actually, you are this many times over. This ain't got nothing on you, but you have to direct it. You have to harness that energy and put it into place so it becomes the power that we need to have this other word, the justice that we want. So as a scholar, and knowing that English is not my first language, as on the chilling Yeddi does not one thing like that when I've been cracked my teeth in, okay then. Gullah is my first language. That's the native tongue of my people. So English really is a second language to me and my people. I think I got it down though. But every now and then, when I know I'm going to be talking to mainland folk like many of y'all, I go and check what language you speak. So I decided I'm going to go check out this chick that they always told us about in school, Webster, Merriam. I said, I'll go check with Merriam and see what Merriam say about this thing. Because maybe I got an understanding in my language and in my tradition of a word that's different in their world. But then I said, let me look close. You know how we want to make sure we don't miss nothing. So I said, I'm gonna put these on, right? Queen Shabazz, I know you know I'm talking about, sister. Now, I went on, put that on. I know pastors, y'all know how y'all do. Y'all in the pulpit, you got your little light over the scripture too. But sometimes you need these. You want to zoom in real close. Make sure you don't miss no word. You want to get the word right. So I said, let me first look up the word energy, because see, these children talking about they want to be energized. Well, energized comes from this root, and we got to get to the root of the issue. So the root is energy. So I said, let's look at that first. And the definition said the capacity of acting or being active. I said, okay, I think they got that then. I think they got that, because they wouldn't have came together if they weren't acting on something. So they're already being active, but now we need to activate that action. Let's see what's going on. And then it says, a usually positive spiritual force. Now that was the one for me. I said, of course, who else is going to bring that together except the spiritual people, except the ones who are the righteous ones? You can't bring the kind of spiritual force we want into the moment without being righteous, because there is another spiritual force already at work. And that's the one combating us. That's the one that want to unplug. You see, want us to unplug. But it's time for us to plug in and lock in. Ain't no time to unplug. We got to stay focused. So it says it's a vigorous exertion of power. Well, we see some vigorous exertions of power against the people, but the power got to be to the people, and the power got to come from the righteous people. That's how we overcome that other energy. All right. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction along the same line. That's what I was taught when I had to study all them scientific principles to get my degrees. So we have to be an equal and opposite reaction that gains momentum, which means we will exemplify our force against the vigorous power that we see coming in the wrong direction. All right. So we do it the right way as righteous people. And here it is. It says a fundamental entity of nature that is transferred between parts of a system in the production of physical change within the system, and usually regarded as the capacity for doing work. Well, ain't that what we gathered to do? Build capacity. All y'all with them 501c3s, I know y'all about worn out about that capacity building terminology. But if you don't put it in the grant, they don't want to grant you no funds for you to keep on doing the work. So you learn that language. It might not have been your mother tongue either, but you learn that terminology. Well, that's what we're doing today. When we talk about energizing the South, we're talking about building our collective capacity for us to will what we want. For as we talk about the United Nations, because I still go there to represent my people, the future we want. In the Gullah Geechee Nation, we're still in the Paris Climate Agreement, no matter what the U.S. talk about. And we will have the future we want because we're going to harness the power to get there together. So here it is. It says it's usable power. So we don't want to just have power. We want some power we can use. So I said, okay, and today we're supposed to be using that power for justice. So I said, okay, so then we got to deal with what is that? Because justice is the quality of being just, impartial, or a fair question. The justice of the fair decision, they say. It is the principle or ideal of dealing in a just manner, taking a just or right action. It is conformity to the principle or the ideal, the quality of conforming to law, or the conformity to truth, fact, or reason. I think I'm dealing with some people who've already decided they want the truth. They want the facts, and they want people to be reasonable, especially at these energy and power companies. The truth is that right now, we are the ones who actually pay for your companies to continue to exist, and we've overpaid for years. So we should have stored up capacity of energy so much so that you can afford a few years, if it takes that, to keep the lights on, to keep the gas on, to keep the water on without trying to unplug folks. But that's when you're being just. That's when you're being fair. That's when you're being righteous. That's when you're living correctly. So something's out of balance if we're not. Something in the sequence is off. Something in the grid needs to be reset so that the power goes in the right direction in a just way. So I said, well, maybe that's the problem, because we deal with justice, but we ain't deal with the root of it, which is just, which is having a basis in or conforming to fact or reason. Now, herein might be the problem, because see, when I hear reason, I think muddle-wit. When I think reason, I think common sense. And Voltaire said common sense is not so common. Maybe that's why we can't reason together no more. That folks want to do whatever they want to do. Every man and woman doing what's right in their own sight, not what's right for the collective body. And in the Gullah Geechee Nation, I'm the head pundit body, but the citizens make up the rest of the body. Our Wisdom Circle Council of Elders is my right hand, and our Assembly of Representatives is our left hand. That is the body. When we talk about in the Christian world, the body of Christ, it is supposed to be the whole global world of Christendom. When we talk about an African cosmology, you move together. If you want to do something for a long haul, you do it together. If you want to go fast, you go alone. But you want to go far, you go together. Ubuntu, it is called. And that's what we're here today. It's so that we can go far together, harnessing the energy of justice. So when I looked at this, I said, it's about acting or being in conformity with what is morally upright or good, being what is merited and what is legally correct. Well, maybe that's why we need to change some laws. I heard my sisters talk about that already. Maybe some laws need to be changed, my sisters and brothers, because maybe the problem is it's legal, but it's legally incorrect. Slavery was legal, but it was morally incorrect. It was a crime against humanity. But it wasn't until we said abolish it that it became legally a crime. But is it? Read the Constitution of the United States. Slavery is not illegal because there are circumstances in which they still have the right to enslave you. Let us work to make sure they don't make debtor's prison come back because you can't pay your utility bill. Because they may try that next. They cage children in the U.S. So what won't they do next? What will that energy trying to oppose us along that same line do next if we don't continue to be the righteous ones to harness our power together? And as we say, work together, chillin', walk together, chillin'. Don't you get weary, because this your great camp got to meet, and this your promised land. And today I think this the promised land, and this is our great camp meeting where, as scriptures tell us, righteousness and justice are the foundation of your throne, that mercy and truth go before your face. Mercy and truth. We are calling on these utility companies oftentimes for mercy. But the truth is, we pay their bills. We keep them in business. If we all start unplugging and going on solar energy, if we all start working to get water energy, we start getting wind energy, and it constantly is renewed, what they gonna do? Somebody gonna unplug them. They going out of business. How would that feel to them? So now here, the scriptures tell us again in the book of Psalms that the strength of the king loves justice. You have established equity. Well, the queen here loves justice too. All right? And I fight for equity and equality for my people, for all people, and especially for Black people who now are part of a group called the BIPOC people, the Black and Indigenous people of color. I fight for those of us who sometimes think we ain't got the strength to fight for ourselves, the people who are often called land rich and cash poor, and that's poor, saying that we ain't got enough to even buy the O and the R to finish the word. Or are you telling us something that you want us to believe, but that ain't what God said? Because God said we are rich, and we are rich enough to have what we need to invest in this fight for equity, equality, justice, and to take that energy together and to do as in Isaiah, learn to do good and to seek justice. And that's what we're here to do. We've learned to do good, obviously, or we wouldn't be drawn together here. Like attracts like. If there was no goodness in us, we wouldn't be gathered here together today on a Friday. Y'all know down south where y'all want to go on Friday. Y'all know where y'all want to go on Friday, especially Friday evening after that fish fry or to that fish fry. And y'all know what be going on. Y'all don't want to be sitting up here talking about no political stuff. It's time to get some music on. Y'all know how we do. Y'all can say whether y'all in the church with the music or you in the church. Y'all know where we go on the weekend. You want to relax. You want to get away from the work, but you never get away from the work of doing good. never grow weary in well-doing. And that's where the justice come in at. And we go back to Psalms that says, I know that the Lord will maintain the cause of the afflicted and justice for the poor. You see, when God is in it, you get all the words because you got all you need to pay for all you ever need to have. Because our justice comes from God. And if God be for us, who can be against us? People said that my people were not going to be on these sea islands. They were going to remove us. They were going to, quote unquote, take all the land back. Well, what I tell Hunter when I start, we'd have been here, and we in the going nowhere to all talk. And so we will continue to harness the energy around us, which is in the wind, which is in the air, which is the breath of our ancestors, breathing power yet into us as God ignites us to continue to hold on just a little while longer, fight on just a little while longer, pray on just a little while longer, because everything going to be all right. So pastors, ministers, people of God, queens, kings, my beloved family here today, I pray that these few minutes I've had with you gives you an opportunity to harness some of the energy I'm sending to you from here, that you will take it with you wherever you are, that you will continue to march in the streets and down the dirt roads for justice, and that we'll continue to know it ain't just us fighting this, because God plus us is the majority, and ain't no way you can lose with God. So I thank you, my righteous people, for continuing to be like a we. Be that tree planted by the rivers of the water. Do not be moved. This is our time to harness the energy for justice, climate justice, yes, cultural justice, yes, energy justice. And we are energized in the South to do this, and ain't nobody gonna move us. They'll move before we do. Peace and blessings. Thank you, Reverend Malcolm, for this invitation. We send you love. We send you power from the Gullah Geechee Nation. Peace, love, and blessings, everybody.
Queen, the first thing that I have to do is pause, because I think that we need to reflect on all and soak in all this powerfulness. Well, let me say it the way that I normally would say. All this dopeness, we just need to go ahead and soak it in.
That's right. I know that's right. Thank you, sir.
And so for just a moment, let us just sit silent for a moment and really soak this energy in, because you brought it. In fact, all three of you queens brought it. Let's send this energy out to others who may need it in this moment. Yes. Though we are energized, we want to ensure that others are energized as well. And so let's send out this good energy. Let's throw up our prayers for those who suffer from the injustices of life, those who suffer disproportionately from energy burdens, for those families who may be experiencing the insecurity of being put out of their homes or out of their places of residence for lack of moratoriums in the middle of a spike of a disease that we have no control over and no understanding. For those brothers and sisters in Nigeria right now, we're having to deal with the aftermath of being shot at. But while we're dealing with those who are over in the deep South, we also are the global South. We also want to send good energy out to those who are protesting out in our streets right now for equity and justice, who are also being shot at. Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you all.